Hi, this is Cathy from Revelstoke Museum and Archives. Today we're going to do a story called Could It Happen in 1900? I'm going to read the story, and when I come to an article that the children are using, you're going to tell me whether they could or could not have used that article in 1900 if it had been invented yet. So this is 120 years ago from where we are now in the year 2020. One morning in Revelstoke in the year 1900, James and his sister Elizabeth woke up when their alarm clock went off at 6 a.m. So would they have heard an alarm clock ringing in 1900? Yes or no? The answer is yes. It would have been a wind-up clock, and there would have been a bell that went off when they set it to go off. They went down to breakfast. "May I have some toast?" James asked his mother. "Okay, James," said Mother, "I'll just put some in the toaster for you." So would their mother have been able to make them toast in a toaster in 1900? Yes or no? The answer is no. They would have had been able to grill their toast on the oven. They would have had maybe a little rack to do that, but there weren't any electric toasters available yet. "Elizabeth," said Mother, "did you flush the toilet and wash your hands in the sink? Yes or no?" The answer is yes, they could have done that because Revelstoke had a water system as early as 1896. Not every house had running water, but quite a few did. "Yes, Mother," said Elizabeth, "I used the ivory soap." Yes or no? Yes, she could have used the ivory soap because that brand has been around for that long. "Could I have eggs and waffles for breakfast, please?" "Certainly you may," said Mother. "I'll put some batter in the waffle iron." Yes or no? Yes. They would have had a iron that sat on top of a ring on the stove. They'd pour the batter in, and when it was cooked on one side, they'd flip it over and cook it on the other side. After breakfast, James and Elizabeth did their chores. James used the axe to chop firewood. Could he have done that? Yes, he would have had an axe. And Elizabeth vacuumed the floor with the electric vacuum cleaner. Yes or no? No, they would have had ways to clean the floor, but not an electric vacuum cleaner quite yet. Their father was putting gas into the lawnmower so that he could mow the lawn. Yes or no? No, he wouldn't have had a gas mower, but he would have had a push mower that would have had a blade that went around when he pushed it. James and Elizabeth collected their school books and left to catch the school bus. Yes or no? No to the school bus. They would have had horses and carts then, no motorized buses, but even then the children were expected to get to school on their own, so the children would have been walking to their schools, even if it was a really long distance for some of them. At school, they wrote out their spelling lists with their ballpoint pens. Yes or no? No ballpoint pens. They would have used either pencils, or they would have had an inkwell, and they would have dipped their pen with a nib into the inkwell and written that way. During recess, the boys played baseball and marbles. Would they have done that? Yes, those games were certainly popular then. And the girls skipped ropes. Yes, they certainly could have done that. And they played with their Barbie dolls. Would they have done that then? No, Barbie wasn't invented until 1959. I'm even older than Barbie. After school, James and Elizabeth played at the park with their friends. "What time is it?" James asked Elizabeth. Mother said to be home by 4 o'clock. James checked his wristwatch. Wristwatch, yes or no? No, he could have had a pocket watch, but not a wristwatch quite then. "It's almost 4 now," said James. "We'd better go." After they came home, Elizabeth ran into the house. "I got my pants dirty and I want to change them," she said. Would she have been wearing pants? No. Back then, girls would really have only been wearing dresses or skirts. It wasn't considered proper for a girl to wear pants. She ran into her room and pulled down the zipper on her pants. So if she had been wearing pants, would they have had a zipper on them? Yes or no? No. Zippers weren't invented yet. When she went outside, Elizabeth took out a package of chewing gum and offered some to James. Tutti Frutti, he said, my favorite. Yes or no for the chewing gum? Yes. Chewing gum had been invented long before that. Wrigley's was a popular brand. After they came back, the telephone rang. Yes or no for the telephone? Yes. Not every house had a telephone then, but quite a few did. There'd been telephone service in Revelstoke for a few years before then. It was their friends Robert and Jane asking if they could go to Williamson's Lake on Sunday. Would they have been going to Williamson's Lake back then? They certainly could have. People were going to picnics out there by then, and they called it Williamson's Lake after the man who had a farm out there. Their mother said that would be fine if the weather was good. Don't forget to take the camera with you, said Mother. You may want to take pictures. Would they have had a camera that they could have taken with them? They could have. Yeah, cameras for families or smaller cameras were available by then. Jim said, I'm going to take my sunglasses. It's supposed to be really sunny tomorrow. Would he have had sunglasses? Yes or no? No, not yet. Elizabeth said she wanted to wear her two-piece bathing suit. Would Elizabeth have been wearing a two-piece bathing suit? No. Girls were expected to be very modest and wear clothes that covered most of their bodies, so she would have had sleeves and leggings on her swimming suit that went down below her knees. If she did swim, it wasn't always considered proper for girls to go swimming. Sometimes the boys would go swimming and the girls would just play on the shore or go on a raft. She also wanted to take her water pistol. Yes or no for the water pistol? Yes, there were water pistols available then. They asked her father if he would drive them to Williamson's Lake in the car. Would he drive them there in the car? No, the first car didn't come to Revelstoke until 1907. James and Elizabeth were very happy that Mother served pizza for supper that evening. Yes or no to pizza? No. Some Italian families may have eaten it, but it wasn't really a popular food then. There was some pizza left over, and Mother said they could warm it up in the microwave for lunch the next day. Microwave? No, that was invented much later. She put the leftovers in the refrigerator. Yes or no? She wouldn't have put them in an electric refrigerator, but she could have put them in an ice box, which families had that didn't require electricity, but they'd have to have a big block of ice in there to keep the food cold. For dessert, they had chocolate chip cookies. Yes or no? This is a sad one. No for chocolate chip cookies. They weren't invented until the 1930s. And they also had ice cream that Mother had made that day. Yes or no to the ice cream? Yes to the ice cream. That's good news anyway. After supper, James wanted to watch television. Yes or no? No to the television. But Elizabeth preferred to listen to CDs. Yes or no? No CDs either. Their mother was at her sewing machine making a new dress for Elizabeth. Yes or no to the sewing machine? Yes, but it wouldn't have been an electric one. She would have used foot pedal, treadles to make it work. The electric lights were on. So would they have had electric lights on then? Yes, they would have. Not every house would have had electricity, but Revelstoke had a power plant built on the Yellow Silver River in 1898, so some people would have had that. Their father needed the lights on so he could read his newspaper. Would he have been reading a newspaper? He could have. Their first newspaper in Revelstoke was printed in 1890. Before they went to bed, James and Elizabeth played a game of checkers. Yes or no? They certainly could have played checkers. That game's been around for a long time. It was the end of another busy day in Revelstoke. The end.